Hello and welcome again on ClubSpotter. Today I have the pleasure to talk with Harry. Harry, I let you introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me on. I'm Harry Bevan, and I am the founder of Weave+Blend. We're an independent HubSpot app studio based out of the UK, and we specialize in what we call quote to cash apps. Help you go from quote all the way through to getting paid on HubSpot. So we've got a couple of apps. We've got Line Pilot, which helps you automate your line items for your quotes and invoices. And we've also got another app called Invoice Stack, which is a premium integration with QuickBooks and Xero. It's one of the top rated invoicing apps on the HubSpot marketplace.
Harry, you choose your subject and you decide to talk about financial data on HubSpot. First of all, why did you choose this subject?
Well, because invoicing and financial data is really, really interesting, even even though maybe it's not as fun as other subjects, and I
No.
understand that. But we can make it useful, make it easy. I feel like it's a forgotten part of the process that people, when they're implementing HubSpot or working with HubSpot, sometimes they see it as because it's not directly related to sales and marketing. So sometimes people forget about it or sometimes people don't want to tackle it because they think it's too hard. Sometimes they don't have a finance person as one of the stakeholders. But I think it's really, really important. And I think there's loads of advantages of linking these two different kind of bits of data, linking your HubSpot together with your finance data. And I think it can save a ton of time. And I think it will make everybody's lives easier. So I'm here to kind of preach that and tell the world about it.
So my first question would have been, why is it important? But I do think that you already answered the question because you're like too fast.
I'm too far. I'm just so enthusiastic about it. I do have some bullet points about
And
why.
that's
So I
super
have some
cool.
more bullet points. So
Yeah, okay, so let us know.
okay, cool. So the three bullet points I had was number one, that it saves time. So I've spoken to so many people, so many teams over the years who are doing kind of finance separately to HubSpot, and some of them are spending days doing their invoicing. They're spending hours and hours and hours preparing reports for their senior leadership team. But quite often that data is the same inside HubSpot as it is inside your accounting platform. So linking the two together can save you a ton of time. I've had people even tell me that they've reduced job roles, whole job roles taken up by people just doing the invoicing. And that by linking the two, it's going to save a load of time. So that's number one. The second one is better transparency. So again, speaking to certainly for like sales and operations teams, like sales teams, sales teams don't want to do the work of the invoicing, but they want to have transparency about kind of what's happening with those invoices, whether they've been paid or not. Quite often invoices are linked to commissions. So obviously for salespeople, they want to know when their commissions come in and when their customers have paid. And then the final one I was going to talk about is that it's just a better customer experience having that data in the same place in your CRM. It means you can send the invoices at the right time. It means you can minimize mistakes. You're not going to go out with wrong information, or it's late, or God forbid, forgotten about invoicing. And what that adds up to is a better customer experience, because the people who need to know the information about what's being paid and what hasn't is all in your CRM already.
Okay, so to you, the first thing which is essential is to have the link between the financial platform
Mhm.
and HubSpots. But how do you make it like run? How do you implement the data on HubSpot that you have on your financial platform?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's three kind of main kind of categories of ways of doing it. So, I can kind of talk through those three ways and the kind of pros and cons of why you would choose to do it in each of these ways. So, the first one, and I guess this is the obvious one, is HubSpot Commerce Hub. It's a new product that they launched probably kind of a couple of years ago, and they've been adding to it loads. And so if you're watching this at a later date, take my words with a pinch of salt, because they might have improved lots of things as well, because they're doing a lot of work and a lot of innovation in here. You will have seen around the product lots of things about invoicing, so HubSpot invoices. And so what this is a way of kind of creating an invoice on HubSpot. And this was developed, I guess, with the idea that this would be linked to HubSpot's payment or their Stripe integration. So the idea is that you could send an invoice straight from HubSpot, and the customer could receive that invoice and click pay on it and pay straight away. And that's all kind of kept track of inside of HubSpot. They've also launched this year as well HubSpot subscriptions as well. So that can create a repeating invoice once a month or once a quarter, once a year, for example. And then again, with that HubSpot payment link on there as well. So that way it's all kind of integrated into HubSpot. There are some integrations. So like there is an integration with QuickBooks as well. So you can kind of copy that information then into QuickBooks. I think in terms of pros and cons and who it's a good fit for, probably smaller businesses or businesses where they don't have a lot of dependencies and have kind of maybe simpler kind of invoicing needs. If you've got a huge finance department already, or even a kind of a medium-sized business which has got a couple of people doing finance at the moment, you might find that some of the kind of integration, some of the functionality is limiting, and you might find that the stakeholders don't really want to do their invoicing out of HubSpot. They would rather do their invoicing out of their existing platform, and some of the integrations between the two aren't quite there. But in terms of kind of customer experience, it can be really, really nice, especially if someone's kind of paying straight through HubSpot and you want to kind of control that experience. So that's a kind of good option, and probably the kind of most obvious option to kind of to talk about.
I would ask how many different, you talk about three different way
Yep.
to import data on HubSpot. Do you have any other way to import data? And second question, how do you analyze data after you have imported all the data on HubSpot?
Yeah, sure. So there are a couple of other ways of integrating, and in terms of kind of the reporting of the data, they all work in a very similar way. All of these kind of solutions, I guess, that I'm going to point out, will all link back into HubSpot data. So if you're looking kind of reporting and analytics, that's one of the great advantages of using HubSpot, is that you can use HubSpot's existing reporting to build out reports and automations and workflows. And that's pretty much compatible with all of these options that I'm talking about. But that's a way that I guess you can kind of really streamline some of the process. So the other option, if kind of HubSpot invoicing is a kind of hit a limit for you, is to use a marketplace app. So there are a number of apps out in the marketplace, depending on which kind of integrations and which systems you're using. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the fact that we've got our own Invoice Stack, which integrates QuickBooks and Xero as well. So obviously check that out as well. But there are other apps out there. So we've got SaaS Happily, for example, which is a really, really powerful Stripe integration as well. And you've got other apps which manage billing as well. So there's things like Deal Hub CPQ. So that's got a kind of revenue and billing function on it as well that can link through to HubSpot as well. So there are lots of other kind of third-party apps. I'm a big fan of that app marketplace. Do check it out. So there's lots of other apps that might kind of help you get further than what you can do inside HubSpot. And they're usually better if you need a deeper integration or you need more functionality. Maybe you're a larger business or you've got other dependencies that you need to link to. So you need it tied to the tools that your finance team are using every day, or they've got specific reporting requirements, or you need to kind of bill in particular different ways that's maybe not supported as easily by the native integration. And also, I guess another big thing is the control about who can see what as well. So some of these tools will allow you to, for example, with SaaS Happily and with Invoice Stack, they'll allow kind of end users to see the invoicing data, but you don't need to give your salespeople access to Stripe, and you don't need to give your salespeople access to Xero or QuickBooks, which is obviously a kind of huge advantage there.
Hmm. Definitely.
And then the final way of integrating, if none of those suit it is to use HubSpot's kind of custom options as well. So you build a kind of custom integration. So you can do this from a no code point of view, just using something like Zapier or even the custom coded actions in HubSpot Ops Pro. So that can allow you to kind of, when a deal is closed, grab the line items perhaps, and then kind of sync those over into your accounting platform, and then use things like the custom UI extensions that are new. So you can use those on higher level accounts to kind of put in interface. So you can have a button that says generate invoice. And that's a really good option if you need to link to some software that's not already kind of supported within the marketplace. So say you've got your own custom billing software, or we speak to a lot of businesses. Sometimes they've got maybe they're a SaaS business and their actual kind of back end portal is linked to billing direct. So that's already generating invoices. So that can be a way of kind of getting that information back in. HubSpot are opening up their APIs soon to support invoices as well. So it gives you, you could either use custom objects or you could use the invoice object when that API launches. So you could then use that to kind of power and get the visibility inside HubSpot as well. But obviously, you have a little bit more overhead in terms of a kind of custom integration because you need to, I guess, kind of pay for it to be developed. But you also need to factor in kind of things like maintenance and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's quite an expensive way to do it. No.
It can be more expensive. It can be more expensive, but in terms of kind of the value that you would get out of making that link, I think like that's going to be really, really positive. So I guess it kind of depends on your on your budget and I guess on your scale. I guess how big
Yeah,
you are.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a finance person who's spending all day every day for the
Mhm.
whole year, then you would probably, I would have thought, see some savings on that despite an integration cost.
That's true. Harry, I know that you have a super, super cool anecdote. So I'll let you tell us the super anecdotes.
Well, look, I would love to sit here and tell you I've got loads of fascinating, hilarious anecdotes all about invoicing, which I know you're desperate here. You get so many funny conversations around invoicing. You don't. Spoiler alert, me and the team were trying to think of some funny anecdotes, and we actually looked on ChatGPT and asked it to write us some anecdotes about invoicing. And it actually, you know what, it did do quite a good job. We did laugh and we did think it was funny.
This
Um,
is the first time on Club Spotter.
but I thought, maybe I'll send them to you afterwards. But I thought the one that I would share was the one where we met in London last year at the Grow conference, and you were basically not. I was there like at the merch stall gathering up all these tiny little badges for my kids. So I got a son and daughter is 6 and 7, and you're like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm gathering like free stuff for my kids because that's the kind of thing they love. And you were very skeptical that my children would enjoy HubSpot badges on CRM optimization and a GTM strategy. And you were not convinced, but actually, as I sent you a photo the next day, they loved it and they wore their badges into school. And my daughter actually even told her teacher what CRM optimization was. So, it's like the next generation of HubSpotters have been inspired by that act. And I think it's a beautiful story that I needed sharing.
Yeah, and before the episode, you just told me that you're gonna be like the HubSpot family, and we were joking about like Kardashian's family, and it's gonna be the HubSpot's family.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to go. We're going to film ourselves on YouTube, on ClubSpotters. Maybe we'll do
On Club Spotters, of course.
You can fund it. You can film us flying to Boston to go meet Darmesh
Wait
at
for me,
Inbound.
I'm coming tomorrow.
Yeah, you can come too, as long as you pay for the tickets, and we'll film it exclusively for ClubSpotters, and it will be really great.
This is a more cute anecdote that we had on Club Spotter, but this is a true story. Actually, I received this photo with the two kids and the badges and the clothes. So yeah, I can confirm that they went to school with the patches. Thank you very much, Harry. Do you have 3 points, like bullet points, key takeaway for this episode, like the things that you want Club Spotter to retain about what we have said the last 20 minutes?
Sure. Yeah. So my three takeaways are going to be, so number one, don't forget your finance person as a stakeholder when you're implementing HubSpot. And sometimes they're on the call just from a like, make sure you're not wasting your money, but like involve them in terms of the process and make sure that you're looking at ways to kind of link what they're doing with what you're doing. Second one would be look at the details as well, because it's very, and I always say this about all types of integration, it's very easy to just see something on the marketplace and just say, oh, well, yes, it integrates it with that tick. But actually, the kind of reality of an integration is there are lots of different levels and lots of kind of details that you need to work out. So try everything, even if it says it does something on the app marketplace. That's an important thing to do. And the kind of final takeaway is just join up that data, because you're going to be able to save so much time and kind of streamline your processes. So definitely do that.
Okay. Harry, do you have one word, a word that you want to share with us?
Okay, well, again, I'm going to use a word that's going to be off topic from invoicing. So I'm going to choose. You might be able to see it behind me. Bicycle. It's going to be my word, because that's a kind of passion of mine. And again, Blandine, you didn't believe me that I had 4 bicycles. Everyone needs at least 4 bicycles.
No one have four
That
bicycle.
that is an important thing to have in your life, and it's a passion of mine. So that's my word.
Okay, so this is typically you. Like, I mean, love the words. Okay, Harry, it was like a super good episode, and I hope that you're gonna be back on Club Spotter soon. And I wish you a very good day.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great.